Hello and welcome to Knitting the Notes with Dr. B. In this short video, I want to discuss just a few miscellaneous items that are also very important. One would be the way I like to think of loud and soft, the physical way I like to think of that, and also the benefits of tilting your hand towards your thumb as opposed to tilting your hand towards your fifth finger. And also, let's see, what is it? Oh, combining dynamics and tempo, and why when you're playing loud and fast at the same time, that can be very difficult on your playing apparatus, and what to do about it. So, let me change the angle of the camera so it's overhead of the keyboard, and we'll get started. Okay, first of all, I would like to point out that a hand that tilts slightly towards the thumb reduces the fact that your fingers are of different lengths, and you get a little more control over the sound. A hand that tilts toward the fifth finger emphasizes the fact that your fingers are of different lengths and makes it more difficult to play, especially more challenging technical pieces. Now, to be honest, most of the piano students I get at Wisconsin Lutheran College tilt their hand toward the fifth finger. And I think part of that is because the minute you get anybody's technique organized, they have a growth spurt and everything has to start all over again. Back in the day when we were allowed to touch students, my teachers would put a unsharpened pencil with the eraser end under the fifth finger and sort of lift up. But you could also have a student do that to themselves. It just gives a very nice hand shape. Now, I remember, this is as an aside, but I remember giving a long talk to a local group of piano teachers in Milwaukee, at the end of which one of the teachers, it was all about good technique. At the end of which, one of the teachers said, well, she always put a quarter on a student's hand. And I did not react. And I've thought about that a long time. And I think the only benefit that you might have, the only benefit you might have to do that would be in this situation, where you're training a student to tilt their hand toward their thumb, because if you tilt your hand towards your fifth finger, the quarter is going to fall off. However, I wouldn't try to play the piano like that. I would take the quarter off and forget about the quarter, just leave the quarter out of it. But it would make sense to do it for this demonstration purpose. But you wouldn't want to leave the quarter on and have them play and try to keep the quarter on their hand, because that would lead to, I think, a lot of unnecessary tension, which is what we're trying to avoid here. So, just as a finishing touch on hand position, tilt toward the thumb, do not tilt toward the fifth finger. Now, loud and soft. It took me a long time to figure this out, longer than it should have. And it's not completely having to do with speed of attack, but I think it's mostly to do with that. And what I like to demonstrate to students is that if you were to clap your hands together very, very slowly, you would have no sound whatsoever. And a little faster is medium loud, and the faster you go, the louder you're going to be. And that is, to a very large extent, true of the piano as well. The faster the hammer strikes the string, the louder the sound is going to be. The slower the hammer strikes the string, the softer the sound is going to be. And the speed of the hammer hitting the string is directly related to the speed with which you depress the keys. So if you want to make a soft sound, you would make the keys go down more slowly. If you want to make a loud sound, the keys would go down more quickly. If you want to have one note be louder than the other in one hand, the finger that plays the note that is going to be louder needs to depress the keys more quickly than the finger that is going to play softer. That's hard. I'm not practiced up for that. Now, the trick is, if your student can't do them, and most of them can't, have them play. So what I'm trying to do here is play the finger 5 more softly, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is having a little trouble with it right now, play more loudly. The trick I often use is to have my students finger but not play or not sound. In other words, ghost play the note you want to be soft. So if I play 1 and ghost play 5, oops, I played that one. Then your hand goes, oh, that's what you want me to do. Sorry, wrong one. So that's not a perfect demonstration, but I think you get the idea. Now, dynamics and tempo. It's okay to play loud when you're playing slow. Because slow does not require a great deal of horizontal speed. But if you're playing very fast and loud, that can be difficult it can be hard on your playing apparatus, because loud is horizontal speed and fast is just kidding. Loud is vertical speed and fast is horizontal speed. So the faster you want to go, the less loud you need to play, because there will be more notes happening in the same in a short period of time, if that makes any sense. So here I'll just play a D major scale, loud and slow. Now if I try to play really fast, let's see it. That's really hard on me, and I'm not playing the right notes. I forgot where the camera was. The camera's down here. So it's just a lot easier to play faster if you don't try to play so loud. And it still sounds pretty loud, even though I'm not playing as loud as I'm doing right now. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave me a comment and I'll try to explain it better in another video. The last thing I want to bring to your attention is the keybed pusher. A lot of times people are trying so hard to play the piano that they push all the way down to the keybed, and you can kind of see this is happening because their arm is a little tight. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to affect the sound of the piano once you go past the escapement level. And on a grand piano, that's often easiest. If it's a piano that's been played a lot, you might need to use very high notes or very low notes to find this. But if you depress the key silently, you'll feel a spot where the hammer goes click up to the string. This is a hybrid digital piano, so there's not much of a escapement level here, but there is a point, I can feel a point of resistance. Once you pass through that point, there's nothing you can do to change the outcome. So it's best to train your students to relax, to identify where the escapement level is when they're playing, and then relax after that. There's no need to keep pushing down. And of course, if you use really efficient piano technique where you're making the finger move from the metacarpal phalangeal joint, you probably won't have that happen. But just be aware of maybe sometimes it's mostly going to happen with adult beginners where they're pushing down, and by golly, that key is not going to spring back up on them. They are going to keep that thing held down come H or high water, and you want to train them to play, relax, play, relax, play, relax. So I hope you found this video useful. And again, thank you for joining me in Knitting the Notes with Dr. B.